Hi, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to The Walking David. Anyways, I hope you all have been doing well since I last made a video. I'm going to be talking about in this particular live stream about The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 2, titled The Damned. And I did make some notes. I apologize if it's a bit echoey in here. I do have this sound pad to try to help. Couple of sound pads. Also got my gun in case we want to get animated later. Okay, let's jump into it. I got my notepad here. I kind of like this setup. I almost feel like I'm like a teacher or something. I consider myself a teacher. Okay, so in this episode, we're now seeing further parts of Rick's plan coming to fruition. We're seeing them going to different outposts, and the episode is chopped up between one outpost and the other. We see Morgan's team, which includes Tara, Jesus, the woman with arrows. We also see Rick's small team, which is basically just Rick and Daryl, but they have 3 Walking Dead randos that are in it, who, are disposable. Thought I was going to stop. Well, I just sort of do it whenever I want it, if I feel like it warrants it or not. But anyways, and we also have the side of the episode that's dealing with the kingdom and Carol. So overall, before I get into like the nitty gritty, I want to say that this episode was pretty good. I give it probably, for the parts, to average it out between the parts that I disliked and the parts that I really, really enjoyed, I'd give it about a 7.5. And I think it was better than the premiere, honestly. There are moments of genius in the show. I mean, that's undeniable. There's these flashes in the pan of good character development or good dialogue or just good energy and pacing, and then just periodically, like, peppered in there are just these weird story choices, dialogue choices, character choice. There's a whole lot of weirdness right now, and it can be a little tiresome. But anyway, let's get into it. I've noticed that we start with Morgan, Jesus, and company standing outside the outpost that our merry group of survivors have defeated once in the past, but it's completely repopulated. They have a moat. At first I didn't get what he was talking about. He's like, oh, it looks like they built themselves a moat. I'm like, did they just not show us something? But they just meant a moat made of walkers. So they could have just said a wall. They made a wall. But I'm sure they just wanted to say moat to avoid any kind of political underlying themes. So anyways, we see that. And apparently in the show, Jesus' role has just become the guy who goes, well, I guess that's, I could have figured that. I thought so. Thought that might happen. He did it in the premiere a lot. He goes, Gregory, well, that's where we figured he went. And, well, I did just say the hilltop size with Maggie, but, what are you going to do, right? We like you. And then this one, he's like, oh, they built a moat. Not surprised, considering. It's like, it's really just like his whole character is summed up in this. Oh, sorry, I needed to do this. That's Jesus' character right there. That 15 seconds of an eye roll followed by a karate chop. That's Jesus' role in the show. Good stuff. Keep it up, writers. Come on. It's so shit. Hold on a sec. Let's see. Well, basically they talk through their plan, they stick with the plan. We're going to kill the guys by distracting them, and we're going to kill them with arrows, because if we fire a gun and anybody makes the other saviors aware that we're here, this whole plan is fucked. And I love how they gave one of the most important parts of the plan to some of the most untrustworthy, unstable people of their entire community. Let's give it to the girl who nervously fires arrows and the guy who occasionally just goes clear every now and then. But Morgan's like, I don't die, so go ahead. Do what you gotta do. They get into the compound. Jesus and Tara, they kill him with the arrows. Jesus and Tara get into the compound. Everybody starts kind of going Silencer Rambo on everybody. But what's fucking stupid is that I have it written here. I wrote annoying Jesus right there. I don't know if that's showing up right. But I wrote annoying Jesus because Jesus was extremely annoying in this episode. And do the writers just forget the plot of their own show like half the time? Because you remember when they get into the compound, Tara and Jesus, they see like two dudes just standing outside a door, don't even realize they're there. And they just like walk in and they both go, and both dudes just fall to the ground. And Jesus kind of looks in and goes, so like Morgan and the other people. And then that one girl does a retarded savior-esque whistle. She goes, whee-doo, hee-doo. And everybody walks in. They couldn't just go, hey, coast is clear. They have to do a whistle. They just have to do it. Why? Because whistling is what you do when you are around a group of your people. That means there's 4 of us here. By the way, do they communicate before I'm going to whistle? And that's when you know to come in? Or do they have different whistles for different things? Food for thought. We'll get back to it. So I wrote annoying Jesus because Jesus kills those 2 guys alongside Tara. He helps kill other people. And then when they find one guy who's surrendering and he pissed himself in a broom closet, just because he has his hands up, Jesus goes, listen, we don't just kill people willy-nilly. He has his hands up. And I'm like, you literally just killed people like 35 seconds ago? So what the fuck are you talking about? He's basically doing what Morgan did with the all life is precious, but they're just doing it a little bit different since he doesn't know what the word Aikido means. He's just saying, like, we have to find a way to peace. And I'm like, are we going to get an episode this season of fucking Jesus hanging out with Eastman for a fucking month as well? I mean, Jesus Christ. Quit recycling old ideas, folks. That was fine for that season, that one episode. Some people loved it, some people hated it, but quit rehashing that shit. Savior whisper, or then immediately followed by a bunch of dudes talking real deep, and I gotta talk to you. You suck ass, Rick. I kind of have this written out of order, but basically their plan gets a little bit fucked up. Some of the guys that they were waiting for, that they had positions outside the door alongside Morgan, some of the Hilltoppers, just get gunned down. That one guy that everybody kind of liked, who was in 1 or 2 episodes from the Hilltop, he just is dead. And the other guy is just left there breathing his last breath. And Morgan is staring in the face of him, and he just got grazed on the arm, but for some reason flopped onto the ground like everybody else and was just playing dead? Or did he just pass out of fear? Or was that just, like, what the fuck was that for? It's sort of like he got shot right here. I mean, Morgan literally got shot in the stomach by Carl, and all he did was need a little 20-minute nap and got back up. So I don't understand what his pain threshold is. Like, he's just kind of like, paper cut. And then, smash cut to a later scene of him just going, no! It's all over the place. The mentalities of these characters Can't get a read on him. So Morgan gets grazed, the other guys get gunned down. Plan starts going to shit, so they have to start going ape shit on people. So Jesus gets a gun pulled on him. His fault. And he fucking deserves that. Then he ties up the guy once he ends up punching him in the face and stuff. I'm like, man, if a guy had a gun on my head and he pulled a gun on me and he's part of this group of people who had tortured my friends and my family and he tries to kill me, like, dude, that's a wrap for you. I mean, you punched your own fucking ticket there. I mean, it's not even my choice at that point. It's just like an obligation. It's just part of the world we live in. You can't let somebody keep going on who fucking pulls a gun on you and is calling you pretty boy and like nestling his face in the back of your neck and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, you're done. It's a wrap. And, so wrapping his hands up and then taking them with him and stuff, it's like, get the fuck out of here. If that guy ends up being a crucial part of the story later, I'm also going to be pissed about that because there's just no winning with that. Just drop that subplot. Just completely drop it. Nobody cares. When Morgan gets up, he completely goes clear. He starts going Rambo and everybody. And I enjoyed that. That's the fun part of the show, is watching people who we want to root for to be tough and to move on and just really fight the good fight. Fighting the good fight. That's what we want to fucking see. We want to see Morgan go Rambo on these people who've caused him so much emotional angst and turmoil to his group and family. That's what we want. That's why we root for the people we root for and hate the people we hate, is because we want them to fight. We'd like to think that we would do that in that situation, which is why we were rooting for him. There's not one person who loves Morgan or hates Morgan who didn't love when Morgan was going around just popping people off. The only stupid part about that scene was that guy who closes the door, like, gently. Like, he literally comes over and, like, makes sure that we saw him close it. I'm surprised he didn't put, like, a little bathroom lock, like, like the little bottom ones in bathrooms where you just kind of, like, punch it in. Like, he didn't just go... And then Morgan just go, bah! And, like, just come in there and just kick that shit open. That would have been cool. I would have preferred that. Not this little, like, it looked like he tried closing a swinging door, like in a kitchen, you know what I mean? Where it's like it doesn't close, it just goes, and then Morgan just like swings it open and goes, and you hear that guy go, oh. Anticlimactic. What if that was how you died in the apocalypse? It's just because you didn't close a door properly. That's how that guy died, technically. He ran from a dude who had a gun on him. He had a gun as well. And instead of shooting over his shoulder and sacrificing his hearing a bit, he just gently closed the door and got shot in the spine. So, whatever. Who cares? Let's drop that subplot, but let's keep the one subplot of the guy getting his hands tied who pissed his pants. Another thing, I get that they're all Negan, but stop writing them like they're all Negan, okay? Just because they say, like, I'm Negan, or we're Negan, we're all Negan, your gun's Negan, that toilet's Negan, like, instead of doing all that, can you write some people who sound different? Because not everybody, in Germany started talking like Hitler when Hitler, was in power, you know what I mean? So quit making it seem like that. I hate that kind of writing where, like, the writer writes everybody the same way. It's just a sign of bad writing. So just stop with that. Cut it out. Take a page from the people who wrote in seasons 3 and 4 and 5 and some of 6 and like a No Way Out and write stuff like that. But cut this we're Negan shit out. Come on. When you have a gun on you, are you really going to say you're Negan? Like, you're fucking retarded. You're retarded. So these people lost all individuality. Now they're just a hive mind, every single one. What, if we kill Negan, is it going to be like Game of Thrones with the White Walkers? If you kill the one that turned them, then they all just collapse? It's fucking silly. We get to see Rick and Daryl on their side of the episode. Kind of, hey, drama easy there. We get to see Rick and Daryl on their side of the episode, going in the back way, while Aaron and a lot of the Alexandrians, like Tobin and Eric and Christina and that one black guy who I don't remember his name. I want to say Omar, but that sounds like racist. That might be. I don't fucking know what his name was. If you know his name, leave in the comments below, because I don't fucking know. We'll just call him Shaft for now. He kind of looks like Shaft. So Shaft and company, they're shooting up the front. Their plan is to try to kill a couple of the people, stall out, let those people turn, then start eating the people who are alive or distracting them so that they can later cap them off. And then Daryl and Rick are supposed to go through the back and start to try to find their guns so that they can have some more weapons, because I'm sure by now they've got to be running low. And so part of their plan is to take out these outposts so that they can get their guns back and then keep fighting, and then also deprives Negan of a lot of the ammo that he would have had access to otherwise. Not that bad of a plan. You know, it works in some respects, but in others it kind of is short-sighted. It's sort of a war of attrition, who has more people and time and whatever. But so we see Rick and Daryl going in there. They're looking for a 50 caliber Browning machine gun that they say could mow down a whole bunch of walkers, I think, because they're talking about the sanctuary, that if they have to go back to the sanctuary, they're going to need that gun to mow them down. Or if they have to get through a herd, because they did draw an entire herd, they're going to have to make a gap for themselves just to fucking get out. It's like, we're intentionally locking all of us in here, and the only way out is by shooting our way out. Let me see what Brooke Blackman has to say here. Good plan for people who have plot armor, which Rick and Daryl have. Goddamn right. So they're checking for the guns, obviously. Rick gets in a fist fight with a dude, and he says in the middle of the fight, he said there's no guns, because he realized quickly that that's the only reason that Rick was there. And somebody had addressed, I forget who it was, maybe like Ronnie Hayes with Make a Path Presents, who addressed that on the note that Rick had. It said that this was an expansion, Savior's expansion outpost, which could mean that they're just trying to expand their reach further, or it could mean that they're literally using it to raise families, because we did see Rick go into a room that had like girls stuff and kids stuff in it, and then he goes into another room, and after he hangs that one savior up on the wall like a poster, he goes over to a crib area, and it's an arrow that says Gracie, and it's pointing to this crib. They almost did like a thought bubble, so like, hey, Gracie, bing. Part of the plot. So her name is Gracie. He sees that basically that guy was someone similar to him, just trying to protect his family, and he killed the dude and left his daughter fatherless. And I think that puts a lot of it into perspective, and Rick is completely sickened by this, and he looks at himself in the mirror and sees what he's become, and I don't know, that stuff was good. That was really good kind of emotional character building, because, I mean, that would be hard. If the whole reason that you'd been fighting so hard was to keep your family alive, and then in a minute you just took this guy away from his kid, and this kid is so young that it's completely helpless and defenseless and has no idea what you've done, it's awful. So Rick feels awful, and we feel awful for him. Daryl, while looking around, he sees a cell that is very similar to the one that he was locked in. It has food in there. It also has bloody handcuffs. And and just kind of reminds him or reinstills this passion about how fucked these people are and how he really doesn't have any sympathy for them. Then we see Rick after he leaves the baby's room. He leaves the baby there for a moment. He keeps scoping out the rest of the place, and he finds this picture, and it's clear that he recognizes the people in it. There's a woman and her child. And then as he looks up, of course, as what everybody is fucking shitting their pants over, are you wearing your shitting pants? Fucking Morales returns. Hey, drama, 1 minute, okay? Stop for a sec. I love you. Sorry, my dog's eating a bone. And it's just like sensitive hearing. I can hear you. I can hear you. I love you, but I can hear you. That's how little I care about Morales, is my dog's able to distract me. Morales comes back. Now, as everybody thought, I thought they were going to bring him back and there was going to be some tie to interesting backstory maybe. And I didn't really mind that they brought him back. I do disagree with bringing that actor in particular, just because it's like, I don't know, it was just kind of weak. And that's my personal opinion. I know I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't talk bad about their acting if I'm an actor, but I just disagree with a lot of the way that he played it. In the first season, he seemed a little bit more genuine, but it was an early part of the story. We're just getting to know these people, but I'm really glad that we haven't been keeping up with Morales. I did not think he was a very interesting character. I don't think he was very well developed, and so we didn't really care. And he was kind of a dick. He comes in there, when Rick ties up Merle and he ends up going back to get him, Morales just goes, no one's going to be upset that he's gone, except for maybe his brother, but... So, he was a dick before, and if all they're bringing him back is so that, they can later say, like, he's the one who gave Negan the bat or some shit, I'm just going to roll my eyes at it. So, let me see. Yeah, we get the Morales reveal. It's just a poor decision. It's just a flat-out poor decision by the showrunners. I don't care if it was to settle fan service. I don't care if it's just because you wanted to bring the guy back and you missed him or whatever. But I don't even think the actors in the show wanted to see that character come back. I think in the behind-the-scenes clip that AMC posted of Andrew Lincoln reading lines with the guy, it just seems so forced. Like Andrew Lincoln looks like he's just kind of being like, yeah, so Morales being back is just fascinating, They've both come such a long way, and that's just, I think they're grateful to each other for that, and they knew each other at the start, and look at what they've become. And the other guy, the Morales guy, he's like, I'm just happy to be here. It's so great getting to be back on set with my family and seeing these guys and getting paid scale. I haven't gotten paid $1.40 an hour to be on any other shows or Frank Darabont movies, for years now. So I'm so glad that you called me back, because I was just working at the grocery store and I was just telling people I used to be an actor, and they're like, oh no you didn't. And then all of a sudden I got this call from AMC and I was just like, oh, wait till you guys see me on this show. My family was going to be so stoked. Not my family in the show because they're dead, but, my real family. So, I don't know. It just seemed stupid, and it looked like Andrew Lincoln did not like the fact that he had to do a scene with this guy, and it was very one-sided. That guy was having a blast. Nobody else was. I think a lot of people were kind of eye-rolling at it. And that's where that episode ends. That's where the episode ends. Is showing Morales. Now, I even watched this episode with my folks because I've been the one that's been keeping them up to date with The Walking Dead. I help record it for them, and then I watch it with them so that if they have any questions, they can ask me about it, because they do get confused and they do wonder certain things. And it's weird seeing my parents, who aren't actors or filmmakers or anything like that, and they watch kind of shitty shows on television all the time, and even with some of the stuff that they've done in this show, they've kind of been like, gosh, that was hard to justify, like, they're kind of like, why is that the way it is? And I don't really have much of an answer for them. All I can say about Season 8, Episode 2, The Damned, is that the Rick and Daryl stuff was good. The action with Rick and Daryl was good. The Morgan going kind of Rambo was good. All the Jesus and terrorist stuff and Hilltop people was just kind of poorly executed. I think, we also see, I forgot to mention in the episode, when we see like the Kingdom and Carol, that seemed like they shouldn't have kept cutting back to that because it felt so out of place. Because, I'm sorry, the facade with King Ezekiel, it would be better if at some point, I've said this before, is if they just broke that character. If after something tragic happens, he just comes clean and he goes, I don't talk like this isn't me, I'm not a king, I don't know, you all just kind of thought that I had this power, and we're all just playing pretend, and he has this kind of existential crisis and he just comes crumbling down. I think that would be way better than just leaving him as like, ha, good morrow, all hail Bluffkin, or, whatever the hell he's doing. Like, because it's so theatrical that it takes me out of it. It just does. But I like the parts when he breaks character, when he's talking with Carol, and he goes like, fake it till you make it, baby. But he's like, we will not lose one of our ranks. And the scene, I will say this, one of the cringiest scenes, and I rarely use that word, but one of the cringiest scenes in the whole episode was where King Ezekiel is talking to some black extra guy from the Kingdom, and he's just like, go forth, and you tell them that we will be merrily behind them, and we will carry on a jaunty chase, and be not 10 minutes behind. And he says it in such a weird, like, it was like Frasier stepped into the apocalypse and goes like, oh, Niles, like, it was so out of place that I was just like, what in the fuck? Like, there's no way that's in this episode right now. We didn't just hear a guy go, be not 10 minutes behind. I don't know. That part kind of drove me a little nuts and just bothered me enough to where I was just like, that scene in particular just took me way out of it. I love Carol. That's the worst part, is that she's so good and she's done so little this first part, the first few episodes of this season. It's really bothering me. She just has this kind of stare like this, like, and I think it's because if I were to give her an internal dialogue, it's her kind of thinking like, you're all gonna die. You're lying to yourself. When you do this facade and you do this lying, you can lie to them, but you can't lie to me, and I'm just not buying it. And I do appreciate that, but I wish they would have her say that. Fucking have her talk. Have her fucking talk. Melissa McBride is such an amazing actress, and she's done all this amazing character growth and empowerment and emotional turmoil. She's so great at playing off all this, at giving good speeches and just showing so much emotion in her face. And to have her do so little is a waste. Realize who your fans, if you really want to do fan service, AMC, realize who your fans really care about. Rick, Carol, Daryl, Carl, Michonne, Aaron, but quit focusing so much on just this nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, get back to your fucking roots. This show is about Rick motherfucking Grimes. And keep it about Rick motherfucking Grimes. People say, like, well, you got to change up the show because otherwise it gets stale. Fuck you. You know, either do something bold and daring and have some balls to kill someone off that people like. Quit listening to all these people who go, if this guy dies, we riot. If that guy dies, I kill myself. If this guy dies, I kill you. If this guy dies, I mail a hate letter to AMC. Like, stop letting your fans dictate where you take your show. When you were making decisions for you in the show, it was great. And I don't want to keep blaming just Scott Gimple. It can't be entirely his fault because it has to go through so many people before it makes it onto the air. It doesn't just come by him solely, but it's like you need to get some people who say no every once in a while. Or have Robert Kirkman jump in every now and then and let him say his fucking piece. Or, you know, just give Frank Darabont his fucking money and let him come back in and direct a few episodes. At least 1 or 2 a season, like George R. R. Martin did with Game of Thrones. You know, come on. There's so many amazing directors and writers out there that you guys really need to try to find them. I love Greg Nicotero, and I love some of the directors and writers that you guys have had on The Walking Dead, but I don't know where they've gone. I don't know if it's the same people and they're just running out of shit to write about, or if you brought on new people from Fear the Walking Dead, which is just a C- of a show, and that's where the problem lies. And because the people who were on The Walking Dead are now showrunners of their own shows and are taking off, you know, and having their own careers. It happens. I know that there's turnover. I know that that's how it works. They said that for the show Frasier, you know, anybody who wrote in the first season was able to write their own ticket for the rest of their career. And there's now all showrunners and producers and stuff like that. But come on. You can tell your writers, and the directors can direct the actors to get this show to feel like it's supposed to feel. And give us that emotion that we all crave. So, I am going to make another video about episode 3, titled The Monsters. I have seen it, and I will be doing a video about that probably tonight or very soon. But for now, thank you for joining me. I'm David Grayson. This is The Walking David, and this was a review/discussion of Season 8, Episode 2, The Damned. Have a great night, everybody.